analyze phase, we are actually going to take a look at those many factors that impact how well that process performs. Because one of the things we need to understand is that there is going to be days when the process seems to perform better than on other days. So we want to understand what are those things that are actually impacting the process. In the define phase, we actually define what the process is. In the analyze phase, we're going to go into more detail around the particular area of the process that we have identified as the area that we want to focus on. So once we get to that area of the process that we're going to hone in on or focus on, we start looking at all the factors that impact that area of the process, because what we want to do is identify those factors that are most important, or the key factors, what we call the vital few X's in Six Sigma. We want to identify those because that's where we're going to focus our attention as far as trying to make the improvements and achieve the goals that we have set out for ourselves with regards to focusing on making the improvements. So in the analyze phase, once we have identified the factors that have the biggest amount of impact on how well that process is performing, we will take that information and move into the improvement phase with it. Now there are a number of techniques, once again, that we can use to make sure that we have identified the most important factors. But once we identify those, we then take that information into our fourth phase, which is the improve phase. And in the improve phase, what we're going to do is start taking a look at those key factors that we're moving forward with. So in the analyze phase, we may have come up with 20 factors initially that could impact how that process performs on a day-to-day basis. But by the time we move into the improve phase, we may be moving forward with only 3 of those, which may account for 80% of the variability that we see in the process. So we really haven't spoken about the term variability much, but the variability is the term that kind of helps us understand why the process is not always operating at the same level. So the more inconsistency we have in the process, the more variability we have. So our whole goal is to understand, in the analyze phase, part of our goal was to understand what are those factors that are impacting or causing that variability. And then we move into the improve phase so that we can start tweaking and getting better control over those factors so that we can have a better assessment or better control over the output that is being generated as a result of us going through the steps in our process. Because at the end of the day, what we really want to be able to do is to be able to predict how the process is going to act if we do certain things, especially with the factors that we have identified as being the key factors in the process. So once we know what those key factors are, and we have some idea of how changing those factors might impact the output that we get from our process, in the improve phase, we want to test those theories. We want to pilot our manipulation of those factors so that we can determine whether or not they truly are the ones that are having the biggest impact on the process. And once we do confirm that those things are indeed the things that we need to be controlling, then we will put things or measures in place to help us control those things to the level that we need to, so that we are able to see the output and the outcomes that we are looking for. So in the improve phase, once again, there's a whole host of tools and techniques that we can use, but we're not going to go into those in this video, but realize that this is the phase where we're actually testing all of our theories with regards to what we really think is having the biggest impact on our process. Now, once we confirm that those things are indeed the areas that we need to be focusing on, and we get some idea of how we need to perform in order to better control those factors, then we will move into the control phase and say, okay, these are the things that we have identified in the improve phase that need to be done in order to get our process to work the way we want it to. And in the control phase, we're actually going to put systems and things in place to make sure that we are able to sustain the improvements that we were able to see in the improve phase. So in the control phase, it's all about making sure that we have all the necessary tools that we need in order to sustain the benefits. That means we're going to identify all the individuals that need to be associated with the control phase, from the standpoint of who's going to be responsible for continuing to monitor the process and take action whenever things seem to go off track. You know, it also includes what kind of data we need to make sure that we are keeping track of. So all of these things are going to be important as we roll out of the control phase to ensure that we don't end up addressing the same issue maybe a year from now. So these are the 5 phases that are associated with the Six Sigma process, and it's just a high-level overview of what is actually involved when we say we're going to try to make improvements from a Six Sigma standpoint. As always, I hope this information has been beneficial to you, and once again, you can go to Google and type in Six Sigma and network marketing and find the articles that I'm writing. But in addition to that, I will have my contact information at the end of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call, and I'll try to answer those questions for you expeditiously. So once again, I appreciate your time. As always, thanks for joining me, and I'll be sharing more with you in the future. Take care.